Hello everyone, welcome again. In this one, I'll show you the basics of modeling and rendering glass bottles in Cinema 4D. But before getting into it though, I have a sponsor and that is me. Yeah, it's me. So I just released my newest advanced tutorial. So if you are interested in and want to know more about modeling and rendering complex bottles and labels in Cinema 4D, be sure to check this out. It is on both my Patreon and Gumroad. Now let's get into the tutorial. I'm gonna start off by loading in the image plane. So I'm gonna click on my middle mouse, go to the front view, Shift and V, back, and load this in. Let's increase the transparency, and we are good to go. Actually, let's switch to the model layout so that it's gonna give us a little bit more room. Then I want to spend a few seconds on the shape because we need to know where to start. And usually I start off by modeling the curved shapes. In this case, it's going to be that detail because it is always easier to get these shapes with a primitive like a disk. So this is how I'm going to kick off. I'm going to change its orientation to +C, bring that down. I don't think we need that many segments, so I will set this to 8. Lower is always better in subdivision surface workflow. So after doing that, I'm gonna hold down Alt at subdivision surface in. I needed to do that because after adding subdivision surface in, as you can see, the object came smaller. So this always happens, especially if you have low poly objects. So I need to scale this up slightly, a little, not too much. Then move it down. Then I will make it editable. Go into edge mode, select these. Then I'm gonna grab slide tool, hold down Control and drag these down so that I could grab that half and bring that down over here. The bottom section of this detail is slightly different than the top. And bring that down. Okay, nice. Let's turn these plane off. Then I'm gonna add a loop cut right in the middle because we are gonna be working in sub-D workflow, which means that we need to keep our objects as uniform as possible. Speaking of that, we don't need these diagonal edges. You may be tempted to use the dissolve tool, but it's not going to work on this kind of polygons or triangles, so I need to use math tool. Okay, everything's looking good. Now as you can see, I need to clone these around 4 times in order to get that model shape. So I'm gonna hold down Alt and add that symmetry. But since the axis of that object is right in the middle of it, we need to offset either the axis or the polygons. Polygons is going to be easier, I guess. But first, we need to change the type of symmetry to radial. And I'm going to set this to 4 because we have 4 sides. Then I'm going to select these polygons and move them on the Z. And that should give me the look I'm looking for. I think to push these out too much, so something like that is going to be enough. Now I need to fill in these gaps, obviously, but since we have a symmetry, I will not be able to do that, which means I need to make this symmetry editable. So let's enable weld and make it editable. By doing so, I will have a single mesh. Otherwise, if you turn this off, you are going to get 4 objects. Enable these, make it editable, then I will grab polygon pen tool, hold down Control and finish these edges. Nice. Then we need to make these polygons rounder. So I will add a loop cut again right in the middle by holding Shift. But there's one more thing that I need to do, and it is preserve curvature. So enable this one. It's gonna slightly push these edges out, not too much. We could actually push these out slightly more. Yes. So this is gonna be more than enough for me. Now what about the other sides? Well, you could select these invert selection and delete them. Then I could add another symmetry. We need to we need to mirror the Z as well. So I will enable this. And that's it actually. Let's enable weld. Again, I need to make this editable. Let's see. I don't need this. Now I'm gonna hit T and scale this to 0 by holding Shift. Or we could also use the coordinate manager. Like this section is for the scale. So if I set this to 0, this should be perfectly flat. I don't want to change that detail. So I'm gonna move this down over here. By the way, these are not gonna match. It's probably because of the perspective distortion in the image. So I'm gonna ignore that. Then I'm gonna hold down Control, move this up, scale this in, hold down Control, move this up 2 times so that I could grab these polygons. And very sorry. I'm gonna hit Control Z a few times because we need these edges to be perfectly rounded. So before extruding these, I'm gonna right click and use Fit Circle tool. So it's gonna make these edges perfect circle. I'm gonna scale these up because we want these polygon islands to be as flat as possible. Then I could move this down, hold down Control, scale these down. I'm gonna extrude these 2 times. Then I'm gonna extrude these out with the extrude tool. And here we go. Let's check the bottom. It's gonna be the same. Let's zero out the white size. Then the scale is looking fine. So I will just move these up, hold down Control, scale in. Then another one. Did I use Fit Circle tool on this? I'm gonna do it one more time. Yeah. Hold down Control, scale, another one. Then I will use Close Polygon Hole tool and enable the grid option. Let's enable subdivision surface. I'm going to hit N and B to see the wireframes. It is a great way to detect any kind of problems on the surface. And I see none of them. We are looking fine. Now we can go further and start to add details. So the most obvious one is here. This part is repeated around the shape 4 times. We can enable the symmetry hub. I will select the radial one. 4 is going to be enough. Yeah, so when I select them, I will select the other sides as well. Nice. Then I will make an inset like that. Then I'm gonna grab these edges with the loop selection, alt and control, clone these out so that I could push these in. Nice. Let's enable subdivision surface. Obviously, we are gonna need supporting edges. So I'm gonna grab these edges. I think because of the symmetry, I couldn't select these. So let's double click. Clone tool, alt and control, clone these out. Hit Q. Yeah, nice. I will make an inset over here to get these edges so that I could use them as supporting edges. Hit Q. Nice. But remember, this is a glass object, so you need to stay away from too sharp edges. So I'm gonna scale these in, or we could also push these out. It's gonna soften it up. Okay, I think we could turn this off. Q. Now, what about the inside? We need to model it as well because, again, this is going to be a glass object, so we need to have the inside in order to get cool looking renders. So let's scale this in. I'm going to hold down Control, drag that down, then I'm going to do that one more time, but this time I will scale it up. Hold down Control, extrude these a few times. Then around here, I will start to scale that in. Then obviously we need to close that hole. Close polygon hole tool, and here we go. Let's hit Q. Let's try to see the inside. It might be hard, I know. I think we need to scale it up inside. So I will make a loop selection first. Then I'm gonna grow up my selection a few times. Yes, then I'm gonna grab normal move tool and scale this up slightly. You could enable subdivision surface to see it better. Yeah, something like that. You may ask, why are you using the normal move tool instead of the scale tool? Well, because this tool gives you a better results when you need a uniform scale. So that's why basically. But the scale tool, normal scale tool will do the job. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Now we need to add sporting edges. I will turn this off. Again, try to stay away from too sharp edges. Okay. Let's not forget to invert the normals. Otherwise, your renders will look bad. So right click and reverse normals. Then I'm gonna test the surface out by adding a material on it. Let's set its color to something like red and less roughness. And look around the shape. I think we are gonna need more resolution than that. If I zoom in, I don't know if it's coming through, but these individual edges are very visible. So let's set this to 3. Okay. Then let's make it black. This time with a lot of roughness. So check around the shape. Okay, everything's looking fine. Then obviously we need to check out the wireframes. I'm gonna bring that down for a few seconds. Okay, I see no problem at all. There is a little bit tension over here, but I don't think it's gonna be a problem. So I can ignore that. And here we go, our model is ready. Let's not forget the lids. It's gonna be really easy. Let's add in a cylinder, move it up, hit NNG. Oops, I forgot to add that one in. That one. Actually, let's not add this one because that roundness is gonna look really good in the renders. Then let's go back to this one. I'm not sure about if we need 16. No, not at all. 8 is gonna be just fine. Set this one to 1. Make it editable. Something like that, I guess. I'm not sure about the inside of it, so I will move it over here. Then it's down. At these two loops. Then I'm gonna scale this out with the normal move tool. I'm gonna add this one in, then grab these polygons with the loop selection and scale these up. And finally, I could grab these, scale them in. Yeah, that should work. Let's add this one in as well. And why don't we use the same subdivision? I just need to group them under a null. I don't think we need these diagonal edges. So math tool and insert add these loops. As you can see, our shape came smaller than what it was up before subdivision surface. So I'm gonna scale this up. Maybe one. So look at over here. And here we go. The lid is completed. I'm not sure if we need this in the middle. Yeah, now it is looking much better. I mean, the sizes of these polygons are very close to a perfect square. Alright, now let's take a quick look at UVs. I'm gonna switch to the UV edit. Let's clean them all. And I think we are gonna be just fine if I use an automatic projection like box. I'm gonna select them all, pack them. By the way, sorry for the keystroke. Let me move it to the center. Okay, so select them all, pack them. As you can see, the result is quite good. Also, I will need to put the texture only on that UV island. We are gonna be okay. Also, I will be probably putting that texture using a material projection. So I don't think we need to spend too much time on the UVs. I'm gonna open up the UV map just to make sure, for example, we could rotate this, type in 90 over here, and the other ones are looking fine. Again, I will be using a material projection for texturing, so none of these are really important. So let's pack them one more time, but this time enable preserve orientation because we just rotated these islands. So enable this, and here we go. But if I had to export a UV layer of this object to texture it in Photoshop, I will probably select that polygon island. Then I would probably pick it. Then I will invert the selection and scale this in. So I will probably follow that approach so that UV island would have more space in the texture because these polygons will not have any kind of texture information. I'm gonna hit Ctrl Z a few times because this is gonna be more than enough for me. Now I need to know if you are getting any kind of texture distortion because there is that possibility because of the low poly amount on the mesh. So by the way, as I recall, I flipped to norms. Let's do that one more time. So that's why I will add that UV checker material on my mesh. It's NQ. Then basically I will enable subdivision surface. Yeah, I see no texture distortion at all. This is really important because we are going to put a texture on that polygon island. Okay, no problem at all, which means we are good to go. A quick hint, if you have any kind of texture distortion, just set this to 1 and make it editable. Now it's going to reduce the amount of distortion. But I think for our project, we don't need to do that. Well, let's not forget this one. I'm going to call this leads. And this one bottle. So let's reset this. It's going to be quite easy. First, I need to select the sharp edges. Then I will need seam for the cylindrical polygons, such as these ones. And that one, that should be okay. Let's click on UV unwrap, select them all. Actually, let's use UV rectangularize for these islands and pack them. Nice. I think we will need to rotate this. Yeah, let's go to transform. Now I will pack them one more time. And there we go. This one may need relaxation. Yeah, just a little bit. Then we are good to go. Now I want to test this out real quick. Let's set this to 720 and this one 1280. I want something vertical. Then let's add in a cam, enable that, 85 for that. I'm gonna set this to vertical and we are good to go. Redshift, render view. I'm gonna duck this right over here. Yes, we are good to go. Let's click on render. I'm gonna add in a dome light. It is a basic room HDRI, nothing fancy. Now let's create a glass material. Double click. Sometimes when the render is on, it doesn't show up the material. Anyway, I'm gonna move these on to the bottle. Double click, or right now we don't need to do that. I will just need full transmission, so I will set this to 1. We have too much roughness, I will set this to 0. And here we go. One of the things that I noticed while I was working this kind of bottles is the inside of them. So we need to have something inside, a liquid kind of thing. It's going to improve the look. So let's do that quickly. I will stop this and change my view. I'm going to solo this. And what I'm going to do is pretty easy. I will just grab this. Oh, sorry. I forgot to disable the cam. So I will just grab this, then grow my selection a few times, but not these ones, maybe not these ones as well. Then I will split these out. I'm gonna solve this only, scale these in, then use close polygon hole tool, hit Q. I need to make sure that these are not intersecting, otherwise we are gonna get a bad look because we are dealing with refractions, so they should not touch. And these are touching right over here, so I will scale this in. Okay, that should be enough. Let's see. By the way, this second one, the liquid one, has the same material. Enable. Yeah, just a little bit better. Maybe we could add some roughness, not too much. I think I am not getting the exact look I am looking for because these are touching each other. So I'm gonna stop this, select all the polygons with NNG. Let me turn off that, or maybe we should do that in the front view. So I will grab normal move tool and move this in slightly so they're not gonna touch. Okay, now I believe I should get a better look. Yeah, let's increase that light up. Maybe we can rotate this around. Okay, now let's try to add a level. I'm gonna create a new material. Open this up. I will need a texture, which I did in Photoshop. I'm gonna load that in. It is nothing fancy, just a simple text. Open it up. Then I'm gonna link that to the color of this new material. Let's turn this off, and I'm gonna put this one on the bottle. I'm gonna hit N and Q to see the texture in my viewport. So I will need to change its projection to flat. Then let's close this. I'm gonna select the texture, enable it. Then I'm gonna rotate it, Alt and Shift 180 degrees, move it down. I don't want any tiling, so I will turn this off. Scale it up. Okay, but what about that white part? How to get rid of that? Well, I will use the same texture, Alt and Control, drag this off. I'm gonna pipe this into the opacity slot. So basically in this one, we want to invert the texture. So I'm gonna type in ramp, and I'm gonna drag these on the connection, and then align it to this, right click and invert the colors. And here we go. Let's see to render. Well, since this is a projection, material is projected through the Z axis, so this is why we are getting the duplicated look. So we need to tell this material that please be applied only, say, this polygon selection. So select this selection, store selection, then select the second material and put this one right over here. That should fix it. Perfect. This is gonna be too flat. By the way, this is clipping. Maybe we should scale it down a little bit more. Or we could Actually, let's select this and screw up the selection one time. Then I'm gonna update the selection. That should fix it. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now this is gonna be too flat. We want some kind of a bump effect. I want to push these a little bit out slightly to get a good looking bevels around the letters. So maybe we could catch a highlight on this. Yeah, maybe something like that. Then I'm gonna add in a bump map node, and basically I will use this ramp as an input, and I'm gonna link this to the bump map. It's gonna push them out slightly. Yeah, I started to see it. Nothing too much. It is something subtle, but I know it is there. And if you check out this kind of bottles, perfumes, you're gonna see they are not too bumpy. It's something subtle, so I'm gonna do it just like that. Now for this material, maybe we can bring down the roughness. Yeah, maybe a little bit more metallic, like 2 for the IR. Yes. I'm trying to get a cool shot. Maybe this. I don't know. We can play around with the settings. Yeah, looking nice. Let's download a pre-made material. I will type in good. I guess I downloaded one of them. I don't know which one. Yeah, this one. So I'm gonna double click on it, put it on the lid. We could make it larger. Okay, I think that's gonna be it. Of course, if you spend more time on the glass material, you could make it a lot better, which I explained in my advanced bottle modeling and rendering tutorial. This is gonna be it for this tutorial. Hope you liked it and learned something new. And I will see you in the next ones. Bye.